Hello everybody, welcome back to a decent temperature sort of Saturday out here. The sky's a little on the overcast, the air's a little humid and muggy, but it's a decent temperature to be outside checking on the chilies and the maters I figure today. So you may or may not want to get a beverage. Yeah, you may or may not want to get a beverage before we carry on. And being a chili and maters update, we are going to start with the El Oro. Got a lot of yellow leaves that fall off of this pretty easy, but this has been the case pretty much all season. It's a very old plant, right? So I don't think that's a problem so much as just old leaves. Starting to get a lot of yellowy orange kind of peppers, which is lovely, and it's still producing lots of flowers, little fresh baby peppers. So that is fantastic. This thing is going to have fruit on it right up to the day I take it inside. I think I'm probably taking those two inside for dehydration today though. Beside it here, the Ahiahuchupan. Starting to get a nice collection of seeds set aside from these. They do turn kind of a funky orange, but it takes a lot of really warm hours to get them there. I'm not sure if it's going to be a good regular season pepper for me. This summer's been kind of weird. But yeah, I got plenty of seeds to keep trying with, so I'll probably keep at it. Now, the Ahi Calabaza has just been nothing but misery. This poor plant is not doing well at all. And I don't know why. Like, we get a good start on the peppers, they look okay, and then bam, they turn to this. There's no color. I don't even know what's going on with the shape on that pepper. But yeah, they're falling off, they're dying, misshapen, deformed, obviously diseased. But if you look at the heart of this plant, like, it looks like it should be fine. Can't bring myself to just snip it yet. Probably should. I don't know. Probably should just start fresh. I'm not really good at that though. This is proven by, we got the 2016 sand dollar here. Looks like it could use a good watering. Again, I've got a few of these older leaves that fall off fairly easily. Lots and lots of ready to go fruit starts on here. Lots of flowers further up the plant. Got a little tiny pepper bum there. The one in the back pepper patch still has the most advanced sand dollar pods on it. But what do? This little tiny yellow scorpion here still, well, that flower full on fell off. I'm not surprised. I mean, I would be more surprised if this thing actually, produced a pod. The fact that it's still alive is just amusing as all get out to me though. A little light weeding today. Here we've got that Matchbox variety. Not killer hot, but nice and productive. So I'll definitely take that. Definitely going to keep growing that. Got some color coming up in the middle. We have the Paper Lantern Habanero. Lots of late season pepper starts on here. Not quite sure how well they're going to do. I am probably going to try and transfer this puppy downstairs, unless I figure out some sort of reliable cloning method. But, do you see that? Down here? Oh, a little bit of color. Tomorrow, the next day, that one's going to be pretty much good to go, I think. It's not the largest pepper on here. Because, I mean, this one here is the largest. Starting to get a little bit of color at the top there, but doesn't look like it's going to be our first. We got the Red Demon. Really looking forward to seeing some actual red on these, but I know it will come in time. And then when you look at the plant, you can get a much better sense of, how much of that is pepper pods and how much of it is skinny wrinkled leaves. So yeah, actually a lot of pods on there. So that kind of brings us over to the pepper patch here to continue our counting chilies, as it were. It's the Burpee Lemon Hot that I still think is suspiciously like what I see as lemon drops. It's the hot lemon, pardon me, lemon hot, hot lemon. So hard to keep track of all these things that are essentially the same. Now here is the Sugar Rush Peach, and if we look at this one, we can see that yes, it has taken a little bit more color than that one I brought in and tasted. There's a little bit of a difference between the two, and once it takes that little bit of color, it still needs more time. Right, 3 to 7 years, that's what they keep telling me. I'm hoping they're just teasing, but we'll see. Sugar Rush Red, again I'm expecting 3 to 7 years for these to take color, truly ripen up. Got a decent number of pods trying on here though, so that's nice. I hope you get with the program though. There's not a whole lot of summer season left. Got one of the ahi penics here, not quite the same shape as those ones I tasted the other day. A little more reminiscent to the ones that came out of the aquaponic garden, and yet at the same time kind of, yet again, their own creature. And that's the one that was all kind of like cucumber prickly, so yeah, that seems to be working itself out. Again, some yellow leaves. I was through here earlier picking off most of those, but clearly didn't get them all. It's the penic that we tried the pods from. Super chili that never did anything. Garden salsa. Now this is a lovely little pepper. Some nice pods on there, fairly productive. Got one with a little bit of color on it the other day. I think I tried that on the live stream. Not terribly hot, but nicely productive, so take what you can get. Now this is supposed to be a red demon. Peppers are a lot larger in many ways than what we saw on the red demon out front. Nice looking pods though, and we're starting to get some orange going in here, so that'll be moving to red soon enough. Very exciting to try it. Probably won't be too painful, but any heat is nice. And here we have one of the so-called Sugar Rush creams, but I mean, it kind of looks like the ahi fantasies that I've seen in a few pictures. So I don't know, anyone? Is that the right shape for a Sugar Rush cream? Or am I on the right track thinking that is a fantasy waiting to be explored? Either way, I haven't tried either of those peppers, so kind of a cool shape on that. I'll be curious to see what comes of all that. Very end here, oh, just before the very end, those sand dollar pods shaping up. Definitely more advanced than the one out front. Not as many fruit on it, but probably not enough time as it is. And here we have my itty bitty M.A. Wartrix. Just make out flower starts in there. It's forked in a couple of places. 1 fork, 2 fork, red fork, blue fork. But, yes, way too late for that. Probably gonna dig it up. No, I shouldn't bring it in, but probably gonna do that anyway. So anyway, let's take a look at some of these tomatoes out in that grove. Still haven't finished making all of these little tripods, but the ones that do have them definitely look better. There's that lemon boy coming along kind of nicely. Beside that, we've got, well, it's the larger of the 2 indigo rose tomatoes. Certainly not the largest indigo rose tomato plant I've ever grown, but you can see that red in the bottom there. That one basically ready to go. Let's see, I want to be gentle. Yeah, most of that cluster is ready to eat. These are delightful, and as I've said many times, very much well worth the wait. Slide over beside it, we've got the Sweet 100s. A new addition to my garden that will be there for years to come. Lovely clusters, ripen up nice and quick. And then the tripod presents pretty well, picks pretty well. Constantly pulling things off of there. Broad ripple. It's a good productive little tomato, but it really isn't holding its own compared to those Sweet 100s, so yeah, well, this still gets to keep its position in the garden. That's got to be the most productive cherry type tomato I've ever grown. And sliding forward, we've got another Sweet 100 here. Not quite as productive as its friend. Got one of the grape varieties. Really enjoying these mini paste tomatoes. They're very productive. Not too much gel in there. Lots of flesh. I like it. I like it. There's some more grape tomatoes there. More grape tomatoes here. Apparently I planted or cloned a lot of those. And I think these are just one of the pear varieties. What have we come across here? Yep, red pear. Well, the red part was pretty obvious. Not the most pear-shaped. A little bit more on the teardrop shaped, but I have seen some very, very pear-shaped tomatoes come out of that so far. One thing I wanted to show everybody today. Now, these are, I get it wrong every time, black vernissage. I'll show you the labeling cup in a minute and you can come up with your own enunciation. But these are starting to get some very interesting coloring going on. I'm not quite sure what kind of red I'm looking for on this tomato. I mean, it's labeled as a black tomato, right? But that's cool. And I'll show you the other plant. It does have the label. One of the few labels we can still read. Black vernissage. Focus. Right? So, again though, we've got those, I don't know, striations, variegation, whatever, but watching the color come in there, very cool. And before we wrap it up today, we take a look at the bunker garden. I still haven't watered this with anything to add some calcium, even though I was given some great suggestions. But I'm noticing it's mostly the tomatoes that formed really early that seem to have the blossom end rot issues. I mean, there's another one there, kind of got a bit of it, but up here, later on in the plant, none of these seem to have that same issue. I was checking all these are okay. Let's check these ones here. Well, that one there. But again, that's kind of formed on the earlier side of things. Still some very nice looking tomatoes. This is still a truly bizarre way to hang them, but it seems to be working. Getting more light in there, getting more air in there. And definitely getting a much better idea just how much fruit is hanging here and just how much of it is a state of tragedy. Pretty excited by this, which still appears to be, I should say, broad ripple yellow currant volunteer tomatoes. These guys came up on their own in this patch. There's another plant in there amongst the corn, but didn't get as much light, didn't do as well. This one is actually producing fruit, and because these things mature so quickly, I'll probably get good seeds out of these, so I'll definitely be saving those as the broad ripple yellow currant / Manitoba variety. Yeah, sitting here with the corn. I don't know, I think some of this corn is done, but that doesn't really relate to this. We'll look at this tomorrow. And that's about where we're going to wrap it up for today, folks. I think we'll be back tomorrow checking on everything that's growing on. And like I say, weather permitting usually, but it's Sunday, so even if I have to be out here with the umbrella, that's what I'll do. Alright, hope you enjoyed today's look around. Thank you so much for sticking around. I'll see you tomorrow.